I'm just going to start fitting the tone bars to the top plate. The tone bar itself is made from some Sitka spruce, which is cut from the same board as the top plate. The challenge is to fit this bar to this curved surface, and of course it's curved in both directions, both along its length and across its width. So when you're taking this away, shaping, putting it back, it's important that it goes back in exactly the same place. Hence, the top plate is fixed firmly into this jig, and I've got a stop here so that piece of wood should go back in the same place every time. So initially I'll rough the curve out on the bandsaw, and the easiest way to mark that curve is to use a washer, and it kind of rolls along like that. I've run out there. Oops. Let's start the other end here, and this isn't my method. I think I originally saw it maybe in an Irving Sloan book. Anyway, so I'll cut those bits off, offer it up again, mark it out again. So after sawing it, you can see that I've got this kind of rough fit. Looking at the other side through that gap here, I can see that it's touching on the back edge more than it is on the front edge. So what I'm going to do now is start a process really of filing away the high points. So having gone as far as I can with the file, I'm now sanding. So the idea is, I've got a piece of abrasive paper, as you can see, between the top plate and the brace, and I will keep going backwards and forwards until I've got a perfect fit. Every now and then I'll just push that down a little bit so it's a bit tighter. And as you can probably see, it's gripping at this end more, so clearly the bulk at the moment wants to come off at this far end. I mean, when you're doing this, rubbing a bit of abrasive paper up and down, there's no real great level of skill in doing that. But I guess the craftsmanship comes into the sort of perseverance. You're going to keep going and going and going and going until that joint is spot on. I could quite easily stop now and think, oh yeah, that's good enough. But you know, good enough isn't good enough. You've got to get it absolutely bang on right. So I guess that's taken me a couple of hours of sanding really to get that profile how I want it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much as perfect as I can humanly possibly get with that. So what I'm going to do now is see what it's like when I put the clamps on and apply a bit of pressure. So a bit of a dry run prior to gluing. So this is my dry run. So I've got these spring clamps holding the tone bar up against the aluminium of the jig, and to apply downward pressure I've got these little G-clamps clamped onto the aluminium, and I'm forcing in wedges, and by forcing in the wedges that applies the downward pressure. So there we are. That tone bar's glued in, the first one. Leave it overnight now to dry, and then tomorrow I'll work on the second one. We can see both the tone bars have now been glued on, and obviously gluing on the second one, exactly the same process as the first one. So what I'm going to do now is actually start shaping them. So I've got the tone bars to the profile that I want, triangular in section, and what the triangular cross section gives you is stiffness by virtue of the height, and because the wood's removed at either side here, it gives you lightness. So that's the first step. What I've always tried to do with my instruments, and I think I've succeeded, is giving the instrument an equal tonal balance right the way across the sort of frequency range. And the way I like to do that is by making the treble side of the soundboard, or the top plate, stiffer than the bass side. And this is something that I've always done, right the way back to making classical guitars when I had say 7 fan braces. The treble ones were always taller than the bass ones, and that gives you that stiffness. So what I'm going to do now is a bit of kind of fine tuning, if you like, a bit of tweaking to these, so that when I hold the plate up and tap it, I can actually hear that the treble side has got a higher pitch compared to the bass side. Right, so those are the tone bars shaped, and as you might be able to see, the one on the bass side is lower and shorter, the one on the treble side is higher and longer, and to say that stiffens up the treble side in comparison to the bass side, and hopefully we get a nice even response across the frequency range. So that's ready now almost to glue onto the rim. The one thing that I do before I glue it on is this kind of area here where I'm going to put the soundboard transducers. I coat in cyanoacrylate, so that area is completely sealed, so when you come to glue on the transducers you've got this good surface for them to bond to. So yeah, that's the top plate virtually finished. So as always, thanks for watching the video, and you keep safe until the next one, keep well, and yeah, see you soon. Okay, take care, cheers.